Good afternoon, one and all. Hope you are having a day filled with lots and lots of happiness and lots of hope. So, let me first begin by introducing myself. My name is Suhani Gupta, and I am currently pursuing my legal education at Savitribai Phule Pune University. My research work basically revolves around Section 377 of Indian Penal Code and to a broader perspective includes all of the LGBTQIA+ community. Whether be it decriminalization of homosexuality or be it asking for equal marriage rights, it has all over been India from quite a few years. So, let us begin by understanding what the term LGBTQIA actually means. The term LGBTQIA+, the word in itself may seem a seven-letter word, but is an acronym which includes 212.3 million population of the world. 212.3 million is not all. The plus sign at the end gives this community the horizon of expansion, the horizon of inclusion, and the horizon of acceptance. The acronym LGBTQIA plus stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and several other non-explicitly mentioned identities. Before digging into what these terms actually mean, to start with the start, we must understand the difference between sexuality and gender. Sexuality is the romantic sexual choices which a person identifies as, while gender refers to what you were assigned to at the time of birth or you have changed into, namely male, female, or transgender. The concept of LGBTQ revolves around sexuality, the biological, the physical, the psychological, and the emotional expression. To further understand, let us look into the terms what they actually mean. So, lesbian refers to women who are emotionally, romantically, and sexually attracted to other women, while gay refers to the male who is emotionally, romantically, and sexually attracted to other men. Bisexual encompasses of individuals who are attracted to both their own gender and to others' gender. Transgender, while on the other hand, refers to those gender identities that differ from the sex assigned to them at birth. Queer is an umbrella term that encompasses sexual orientations and gender identities that do not conform to societal traditional norms. It can be used by individuals to describe their non-heterosexual or non-cisgender identity. Non-heterosexual base simply means identifying either as male or female, which is traditionally followed in our society. While intersex individuals are born with biological variations in their reproductive or sexual anatomy. Asexual refers to individuals who experience little or no sexual attraction to others. The highly populated world in which we live in, quantification of numbers becomes very necessary. So let us look how the quantification is actually done and how many people are identify themselves as belonging to these communities. So there are estimated 212.3 million LGBTQIA plus individuals living in countries worldwide. According to Gallup poll, approximately 5.6% of the population identified as LGBTQ+. Out of those, 50% of them are identified as bisexual, 24% as gay, and 11% as lesbian. According to some reports, apparently India ranks first in the world with crores of people identifying themselves with the LGBTQIA plus community. Now moving forward and looking into more of quantities, same-sex union and marriages can be seen 31.3% around the globe. 23 countries recognize same-sex marriages. Only 42.10 population gets legal recognition as belonging to LGBTQIA plus community. Still, 6.9% gay conversion therapy can be seen, which is really questionable. These data cannot be considered as fixed as many may not have yet identified themselves or are behind the closet. Everything has a past and this too has a past. To study the future better and to handle the present better, we need to study the past. The past of LGBTQIA community is a diverse one, characterized by struggles, milestones, and progress in the fight for equality and acceptance. Key moments can be considered as follows. Ancient times, homosexuality and diverse gender identities were present in many ancient civilizations, such as ancient Greeks, Romans, and Native American tribes. Such cultures recognized and accepted same sex relationships, while others held more conservative attitudes. Pre 20th century. Throughout history, same sex relationships and non conforming gender identities faced various degrees of acceptance and persecution. Laws and social attitudes often criminalized and stigmatized homosexuality and gender identities. In 19th century, the beginning of gay rights movements can be seen. Activists like Karl Heinrich Ulrich and in Germany and Magnus in who founded the scientific humanitarian community began advocating for decriminalization of homosexuality and challenging societal norms. Stonewall riots. In the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York City became the site for pivotal event in LGBTQIA+ history. In response to police raid, the patrons of the bar, led by the transgender women, fought back and sparked several days of protests. This event, often credited as catalyst for modern LGBTQIA+ movements in India and throughout the world. Gay liberation movement in 1970s, a way of activism can be seen, and formation of various organizations like Gay Liberation Front and Gay Activist Alliance can be also seen. The AIDS crisis in 1980s and 1990s was another stone for the in the path of achieving rights for the LGBTQIA+ community. Here we can see a flowchart depicting the various issues and various events which happened throughout the history. First can be seen the ancient times which portrayed the feelings of conservatism. Moving forward, the pre-20th century, the criminalization and stigmatization can be seen. In the late 19th century, advocacy of rights and asking for equal rights and movements can be seen. Stonewall riots, which paved the way forward for the movement and was very important, can be also seen in 1969. Liberation movements and formation of gay communities can also be seen for the further slide. Atrocities are something which is common to every society and has to be faced by every person, whether be it male, female, or person belonging to rainbow community. Now let us look at some of the atrocities faced by the people of LGBTQIA+ community throughout the globe in general. The first one is systematic discrimination. Individuals have long been subjected to systematic discrimination, including legal barriers that deny them basic rights and precautions. The discriminations manifest various areas such as employment, housing, education, healthcare, and public accommodations. The owners of the property often does not give rent to the people belonging to the LGBTQIA community. Second, forced outing and blackmail. LGBTQIA+ individuals may be forcefully outed or threatened with outing by others, which lead a loss of employment, rejection from family and friends. Family rejection and homelessness. Many people experience rejection and hostility from their families when they come out, which results to homelessness. LGBTQIA+ youth are disproportionately represented among the homeless population due to family rejection and lack of support. Violence and hate crimes. These community peoples are easy targets of hate crimes, sexual assaults, physical attacks, including women and especially transgender women. Discriminatory laws. In some countries, laws explicitly criminalize same-sex relationship or transgender identities, leading to state-sanctioned punishments, prosecutions, and violence against LGBTQIA individuals. Next would be denial of legal recognition. People or couples often face legal barriers accessing same rights and protections as heterosexual couples. Marriage rights are few of the rights which India is still fighting for. Bullying and mental health challenges is another problem faced by these. The LGBTQIA individuals, particularly young, are more likely to experience bullying, harassment, social isolation. This can lead to mental health issues, including higher rates of depression, anxiety, self alarm, and suicide. Now, let us look what homosexuality is all about. Homosexuality is the romantic attraction or sexual behavior between members of same sex or gender. Someone quoted, as a sexual orientation, homosexuality is an enduring pattern of emotional, romantic, and sexual attractions to people of same sex. Section 377 of Indian Penal Code identifies homosexuality as unnatural offences. Section 377 states that whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, woman, or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable for fine. This section basically criminalizes the act of private consensual homosexual sex between adults as well, or simply this section bans homosexuality. Earlier judgment stated in 2018 ruled that this section's use against consenting homosexual adults was irrational, arbitrary, and unjustified. Moving forward, now since we are looking at the present of protest against 377, we should also look at the background for the protest of 377. The movement basically started in 1991 when AIDS Bhedbhav Vidrohi Andolan published a landmark report titled Less Than Gay, a Citizen's Report. The report laid out the problems with this section and advocated for its repeal. The second more recent attempt in this direction was by the NGO the NAS Foundation. In 2001, a group filed a public interest litigation in the Delhi High Court that sought to legitimize homosexual union between two consenting adults. This case was dismissed by a two-judge bench in 2004 as a result of SC ordering the Delhi High Court to hear the case again. In 2009, Delhi High Court decriminalized homosexuality by ruling consenting homosexual intercourse between adults is not illegal. The verdict was further challenged by the journalist named Suresh Kumar Kaushal. In 2013, SC bench upheld the appeal by Kaushal and reversed the earlier ruling by decriminalizing homosexuality again. Further, this verdict stated that it was up to the parliament to consider whether the section should be deleted from the statute book or not. This verdict was met with a lot of criticism. Global Day of Rage was celebrated throughout the world. Many review petitions were quashed. In 2016, SC referred a curative plea to demand a five-judge bench. The two landmark act, judgments acted as a shot in the arm for the cases against 377. The first was the NASA judgment, which gave right to the transgender community to be called as the third gender in 2014, while the Puttaswamy judgment in 2017 stated right to privacy is a fundamental right. This order stated that privacy included the sanctity of family life, the preservation of personal intimacies, marriage, procreation, the home, and the sexual orientation. In 2018, the issue was reopened by a constitution bench which said that a section of people could not live in a fear of law which undermined their rights of privacy and dignity and to choose. The petitioner had alleged that the presence of Section 377 of IPC meant that there should be equality, dignity, fraternity, liberty, and life guaranteed by the Constitution to be extended to all of the people belonging to this community. Moving forward, earlier we saw what atrocities or problems they faced in general. Now let us look at what the problems of the Roma community people face in Indian society through the lens of Section 377. The people belonging to these communities are far from being the land of acceptance. Homophobia, transphobia, biphobia are deeply embedded into people's minds, leading to a whole spectrum of derogatory practices. Outright violence, killing, and conversion therapies can still be seen throughout the country. Lesbian women are subjected to family sanctioned corrective rapes. Refusal to marry bring more physical abuse. Stigmatization, negative parental reaction towards homosexuality are one of the top atrocities faced by the people belonging to this community. Unappropriating stares and rejection of entry at public places and the belief of them being prostitutes are seen everywhere, including India as well. Now, being the students of law, evidence is what our lives and legal system revolves all around. From the very early time, acceptance for the Remo community can be seen in history or numerous occasions depicts acceptance for homosexual people. The text Vikriti evam Prakriti taken from the Rig Veda means what seems unnatural is also natural and recognizes homosexual transsexual dimensions of human life. Paradoxically, ancient Indian texts such as Kama Sutra, Mahabharata, and many more have accepted and encouraged homosexual practices. We can still see sculptures of erotic people on the walls of Khajuraho temple. Moving on, now let us look at some surveys to further expand our knowledge for the facts about the LGBTQIA community. Edelweiss Tokyo. A bizarre survey conducted by Edelweiss Tokyo Life Insurance in 2019 across 12 cities in India revealed that 56% of Indians would refuse an organ donation from homosexual persons, while 54% believed that LGBTQ persons should not be allowed to donate organs at all. A sponsored survey published in 2009 compared gay, lesbian, and bisexual young adults who experienced strong rejection from their families. They were 8 times more likely to have tried to commit suicide, 6 times more likely to report high levels of depression, and 3 times more likely to use illegal drugs. A survey conducted by Stanford and a civilian welfare foundation non-profit in Kolkata took interviews of 300 doctors to check their biases. It found that doctors find hard to believe that transgenders get raped and refuse to provide them HIV medicines also. Moving forward, support is all what humans need, whether be it in general course of life or some specific cases. Here are few arguments which were put forward before the bench in support of decriminalizing Section 377. First was fundamental rights. Section 377 criminalized a section of society for being a sexual minority. The petitioners argued that the right to sexuality, sexual anatomy, and freedom were indispensable to human dignity. This section was against the fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution, and that the section of people was denied their fundamental right based on this. Health issues. Due to criminalization of homosexuality, a section of society could not get adequate access to health care. It created barriers in effective preventing, testing, and treatment of diseases. It also resulted in abuse, violence, and mental illness due to lack of social acceptance. Third would be issue of law and morality. Many argued that what was forbidden in most religions and by traditional norms need be forbidden in the eyes of laws which saw everybody equally. Fourth could be Section 377 and child abuse. There was a criticism from child rights activists that the repealing of this section would be a problem for tackling child abuse cases, but the enactment of POCSO in 2012 did away with the need of this section to deal with the cases of abuse. POCSO is more stringent as well as child friendly. Fifth would be implications for heterosexuals. Section 377 included some consensual acts between heterosexuals which were considered unnatural and punishable. Let us now look at the other side of the coin. Arguments against repealing Section 377. There are certain groups who were against the repealing of this section. Many religious groups and denominations were against this, contending that homosexuality was against God and religious moves. Legalizing homosexuality would spread diseases such as AIDS and cause health hazards in the country. Now, let us look at the Supreme Court judgment which decriminalized homosexuality in India. Following below are the lines quoted from the judgment. The SC ruling in effect decriminalized homosexuality in India. The SC stated that Article 14 guarantees to every person equality before the law or the equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. The court upheld the preeminence of constitutional morality by saying that equality before the law cannot be denied by according precedence to religious or public morality. The SC also took into cognizance that modern psychiatry do not consider homosexuality as a mental disorder and hence it cannot be penalized. The SC also acknowledged that homosexuality was observed even in animal world and this dispels the myth that it is against the order of nature. The SC also said that the Yogikarta principles on the application of international law in relation to issues of sexual orientation and gender identity ought to be applied to Indian law as well. The Yogikarta principles were outlined in 2006 in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, by a group of eminent human rights experts. There are a set of principles which pertain to application of international human rights laws with respect to sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, if we look at the judgment bench which gave this landmark judgment, it was a 5-judge constitution bench of Supreme Court which gave the judgment on a batch of petition challenging the constitutional validity of Section 377 of IPC. CJI Deepak Mishra and Khanwilkar relied on the Nalsa judgment to highlight connection between human rights and constitutional guarantee of right to life and liberty with dignity. The bench consisted of 5 judges, namely CJI Deepak Mishra, Justice Indu Malhotra, Justice R.F. Nariman, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and Justice A.M. Khanwilkar. Now, let us look at what these judges said in the following judgment. Justice Indu Malhotra had remarked in her reading of the judgment that sexuality lies at the core of human beings' innate identity and society owes an apology to the LGBTQIA community for the years of stigma imposed on them. Justice Deepak Mishra, who was writing for himself, and Justice A.M. Khanwilkar acknowledged bodily autonomy as a part of person's dignity. He said that societal morality cannot overturn fundamental rights of even a single person. While Justice Chandrachud questioned the very meaning of often used phrase order of nature. He said, who decides what is natural and what is unnatural? Can the state be allowed to decide? While Justice Nariman stressed the undoing of the stigma of mental illness attached to homosexuality. The present definition of mental illness in the 2017 Parliamentary Statute makes it clear that homosexuality is not considered to be a mental illness. This is a major advance in our law which has been recognized by Parliament itself. The ultimate motive towards every fight is to achieve something, and in this case, rights were the thing which were to be achieved. Few of the revolutionary rights are mentioned in this research work. Before the section was repealed, people belonging to the LGBT community used to complain of harassment by law enforcement agencies, allowing them to do whatever they want. Since homosexuality came to an end, it is no longer a crime in India. This has brought some changes in the aspect. It is important to remember that SC ruling did not strike down the entire section. Offences against children, non-consensual sexual activity and bestiality continue to be punishable. The judgment means that sexual minorities will have full access to all the enshrined fundamental rights and can live with dignity. As mentioned before, along with legal aspects, the legal recognition also will bring in the societal acceptance. As since law is accepted, then society has one more reason to accept it. Moving forward, the next right which came along was it has become possible for LGBT community to open about their sexual preferences. Police harassment and discrimination will be eliminated in their access to health care. The decriminalization of LGBTQ people has also been associated with more self-acceptance and psychological and emotional security. As a result of this judgment, the LGBT community will now push for more progressive laws such as gay marriage laws, rights to form partnership, inheritance, employment equality, protection from discrimination based on gender identities. Further, when we look at some of the rights which states give to these LGBTQIA people, the state of Tamil Nadu and Kerala were the first Indian states to introduce a transgender welfare policy. According to the policy, transgender people can access free sex reassignment surgery in government hospitals, free housing, various citizenship documents, admission in government colleges with full scholarships for higher studies, alternative sources of livelihood through formation of self-help groups, and initiating income generation program. Tamil Nadu was also the first state to form transgender welfare board with representatives from transgender community. Kerala started providing free surgery in government hospitals in 2016. West Bengal set up transgender welfare board in 2015. The last but not the least, the Karnataka government on October 2017 issued the state policy for transgender with the aim of raising awareness against the transgender people. There were several milestones throughout the fight to decriminalize Section 377. These milestones were in form of landmark cases and their judgments. Let us look at some. First would be Nas Foundation versus Government of NCT of Delhi. It is one of the first case laws wherein Section 377 of IPC was held unconstitutional as it discriminated against the LGBTQ plus community of the country and violated their privacy as individuals. The landmark judgment given by Delhi High Court stated that Section 377 violates Article 14, 15 and 21. The court concluded that Section 377 does not distinguish between public and private acts or between consensual and non-consensual acts. The judgment restricted to adults when Section 377 also applied to minors. Section 377 had permitted the harassment of LGBT people in law. Second would be Suresh Kumar Kaushal case. In 2013, SC overturned the previous judgment by the Delhi High Court in 2009 that decriminalized homosexual acts and criminalized homosexuality once again. SC argued that in 150 years, less than 200% had been prosecuted under Section 377. So, plight of sexual minorities could not be used as an argument for deciding constitutionality of law. SC further ruled that legislature had the ounce to decide whether it has to delete Section 377 of IPC or not. The third case would be Case Puttaswamy versus Union of India 2017. SC ruled that fundamental right to privacy is intrinsic to life and liberty and thus comes under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. SC declared that bodily autonomy was an integral part of the right to privacy. This bodily autonomy has within its ambit sexual orientation of its individual as well. Next could be Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India 2018. This was the landmark case which decriminalized homosexuality from India. It dismissed the position taken by SC in Suresh Kumar Kaushal case that the LGBT community constitute a minuscule minority and so there was no need to decriminalize homosexual sex. Last would be the National Legal Service Authority or NALSA versus Union of India. The court declared transgenders as the third gender and affirmed the fundamental rights guaranteed to them. They were also guaranteed reservations in admissions to educational institutions and jobs. Now, let us look at some paper cuttings from the day when Section 377 was decriminalized. The first cutting is from Hindustan Times, which says that Rainbow Nation. Rainbow is basically used to describe the people belonging to LGBTQIA community, and Rainbow Nation means a nation which adopts and accepts rainbow people. The Independence Day. Independence Day means the day which accepted the independence to love, independence to live, and to choose whatever you are. Love is the first right, and several other paper cuttings which says drop section 377 and Danik Jagran, Rainbow Nation, and furthermore. Further, certain laws were made for the provision of equality and acceptance to the rainbow community in India, and for the smooth application of the process to decriminalize Section 377. Let us look at some of these laws. Transgender Person Act 2019. The Act defines a transgender person as one whose gender does not match to the gender of assigned at birth. It includes trans men, trans women, persons with intersex variation, gender queers, and persons with socio-cultural identities such as Kinder and Hijra. Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Rules 2020. The central government made the rules under the powers conferred by the Transgender Persons Act 2019. Third would be National Portal for Transgender Person was launched under consonance with Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Rules 2020. National Legal Services Authority (NALSA) versus the Union of India 2014. The SC declared transgender people to be the third gender. Now let us look at some of the milestones and laws which are in abroad for the protection of LGBTQIA plus community from the past years and are continuing till present. In 1973, American Psychiatric Association stopped classifying homosexuality as a mental disease. In 1791, France became the first country to decriminalize homosexuality. In 1989, Denmark became the first country to recognize same-sex civil unions. Netherlands too recognized the same-sex marriage and even legalized it in 2000. In 1994, US Attorney General Janet Reno recognizes prosecution based on sexual orientation as grounds for asylum in order issued by them. In 2010, Argentina became the first Latin American country to recognize same-sex union. 2 years later, it recognized transgender rights as well. In 2013, US Supreme Court extends federal marriage benefits to same-sex couples. 2 years later, it recognized marriage equality in all US states and territories. In 2018, Inter-American Court of Human Rights rules that same-sex marriage and transgender rights constitute human rights. In 2019, Taiwan legalizes marriage equality in the East area. The following graph shows the progression of events which took place in the due course of decriminalization of LGBTQ or homosexuality. With the introduction of Section 377 by British in 1861 to the decriminalization in 2018, it has all been given here with in a sequence. Moving forward, as much as the opinion of the Supreme Court bench or the people in topmost positions are important, the opinions of people in the general life are also important. Here are some of the opinions given by the people collected through a survey conducted by me. So, the first opinion is from a 19-year-old Ashish Kishore. He quotes that I feel they should be given equal respect and opportunity as given to the common people because we are all equal in every sense and it's completely unfair to discriminate someone on basis of their sexual identity. Over the years, the LGBTQ plus community has made significant strides towards equality, but there is still progress to be made. It is essential for society to continue supporting for the rights and well-being of LGBTQ plus individuals. Thus, it is our responsibility to create a world where everyone, regardless of their sexual orientation, can live authentically and without fear of judgment or discrimination. Another one says, I proudly support the rights of all LGBTQIA plus people to live equal and safe lives. It takes certain amount of bravery to be your authentic self. Let's celebrate that and end the culture of shame around things we don't understand. Let people love who they love and let people be themselves. Another one says decriminalization, anti discrimination laws, marriage equality, gender recognition are the rights which they are fighting for and should achieve them. Another person says normal people, just like everyone else on this planet, LGBTQ plus people are, however, the same. However, people hold little too much of confusion about them. Now, this brings us towards the end of our research work. To summarize, the decriminalization of Section 377 of Indian Penal Code, which criminalized consensual homosexual acts, was a significant step forward for the LGBTQ plus rights in India. The Supreme Court of India delivered a landmark judgment on September 6, 2018, declaring that the provision was unconstitutional and violated the rights of equality, privacy, and freedom of expression. The decision marked a historic moment as it overturned a law that has been in place for more than 150 years and caused immense harm to the LGBTQ plus community in India. By decriminalizing consensual same-sex relationships, the court recognized fundamental rights of individuals regardless of their sexual orientation. The decriminalization of Section 377 not only had a legal impact but also brought about a social and cultural shift in country. It helped challenge stereotypes, reduce stigma, and foster greater acceptance of people. The ruling sparked conversations and raised awareness about the people, the rights, paving the way for more inclusive and progressive society. However, it is important to note that decriminalization is just the step forward towards achieving full equality for the LGBTQ plus community. There is still much work to be done to ensure comprehensive legal protections, including anti-discrimination laws regarding recognition of same-sex relationship, equal rights in various domains such as marriage, adoption, inheritance. Overall, the decriminalization of Section 377 in India was a landmark moment in the fight for LGBTQ plus rights, promoting great inclusivity, equality, and respect for individual autonomy. It set a precedent for other countries to demonstrate the power of judicial intervention in advancing social justice. I, Suhani Gupta, signing off. Thank you for being alive on this journey. Happy Pride Month. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.